Day 0. Angela Crawford is dead. 7 days ago, her final appeal was denied. 14 days ago, denied again. 30 days, 60 days. Every single time she asked for help, the answer was the same: no. 90 days ago, Angela was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, a 95% survival rate. She should be alive right now. 90 days, 4 denials, 1 preventable death. This is the story of Angela Crawford and the insurance company that used delay as a death sentence. We're telling this story backwards, because to understand how she died, you have to see exactly how they let her life slip away. Angela M. Crawford, 42 years old, English teacher, mother, wife, dead. March 15th, 6:47 a.m., room 412. The death certificate says metastatic breast cancer, but that's a lie. The real cause of death? Paperwork. When Angela was diagnosed 90 days ago, she had a 95% chance of living. Her doctor prescribed a standard, FDA-approved treatment, but HealthGuard Insurance saw a different number: $347,000. They didn't say no once. They said no 4 times. 45 days of fighting, 21 days of bureaucratic delay, 14 days of additional review. While the committee sat in boardrooms, the cancer was moving, from the breast to the liver, to the lungs, to the bones. Angela's last words were, "Tell them what they did." Michael, her husband, is doing just that. But to understand the crime, you have to see the timeline of the cover-up. We are going back, denial by denial, from the hospital bed back to the doctor's office. This is how HealthGuard Insurance killed Angela Crawford in exactly 90 days. Insurance companies aren't just betting on your health, they're betting on your silence. Angela's last words were, "Tell them what they did." By sharing this video, you are doing exactly that. You're helping us hold these systems accountable. Now, let's look at the final week. Day 7 before her death. The moment the final door was slammed shut. March 8th. 7 days to go. Room 412 is quiet, except for the mechanical hum of the oxygen concentrator. Angela Crawford, the woman who once filled a classroom with the energy of Shakespeare and poetry, is now a ghost of herself. She is too weak to speak. The cancer has colonized her liver, her lungs, and her bones. It is no longer a guest in her body. It is the landlord. Michael hasn't left this room in 6 days. He sleeps in a vinyl chair that was never meant for a human to rest in. He is watching his wife disappear, one shallow breath at a time. 3 floors up, Dr. Kathy Bro is engaged in a different kind of war. She is 52 years old, with 23 years of oncology experience, and she is currently typing the most desperate document of her career. This is appeal number 4, the final appeal. She isn't just sending medical records anymore. She is sending a manifesto. She attaches the FDA approval letters from 1998. She attaches the peer-reviewed studies proving a 95% success rate for stage 2 patients. And then, she adds a personal note, a plea from one human to another. She writes, "This patient is dying because of administrative delays. You have denied her the standard of care for 83 days. Approval is no longer just a medical decision. It is a moral one. Every hour matters." 3 days pass. 3 days of Michael holding Angela's hand, watching the door, waiting for a miracle in the form of an email. At 2:43 p.m. on March 11th, the notification pings. Michael opens it. His eyes skip past the corporate jargon, past the "Dear Mr. Toledo," straight to the determination. Appeal denied. The reason given by HealthGuard Insurance? Treatment remains experimental and not medically necessary for patient's current condition. Remains. As if the last 83 days of evidence didn't exist. As if the FDA hadn't spoken decades ago. As if Angela wasn't lying in a bed 3 floors down, dying from the very condition they helped create. HealthGuard knew exactly what they were doing. By the time they sent this final email, they knew the immunotherapy wouldn't work anymore. The cancer had progressed too far. They could finally, safely, say no one last time, knowing they would never have to pay for a single infusion. They had successfully waited out the patient. In room 412, Angela stirs. She sees Michael's face. She sees the way he's holding the laptop, the way his shoulders have finally slumped. She doesn't ask. She has been a teacher long enough to know when the final bell has rung. "Denied?" she whispers. It's barely a breath. Michael doesn't speak. He can't. He just nods. A single tear tracks through the hospital tape on her cheek. In that moment, the fight didn't end because the cancer was too strong. It ended because a claims review board decided that $347,000 was a fair price for a mother's life. Angela Crawford has 7 days to live. But to understand how we got to this hospital bed, to understand how a 95% survival rate was dismantled by a corporation, we have to go back to the very beginning, to the moment the trap was set. We're going back to day 90, the diagnosis. March 1st, 14 days left. Angela is no longer at home. She is in room 412 of the oncology ward. She didn't walk in, she was carried in. In just 45 days, she has lost 28 pounds. Her clothes hang off her, like a reminder of the woman she used to be just 2 months ago. The pain is no longer a dull ache. It is a constant, screaming presence in her abdomen and her chest. Dr. Kathy Bro has to deliver the news that no doctor ever wants to say. The new scans from February 28th are back. The delay has done its work. The cancer has metastasized. It has breached the walls of the breast and set up colonies in Angela's liver and lungs. Angela Crawford, who started this journey at stage 2 with a 95% survival rate, is now officially stage 4, terminal. Michael Toledo sits in the consultation room, his head in his hands. He asks the question that every person watching this is thinking.
Can we still use the immunotherapy? Can we still use the trastuzumab and pertuzumab?
The answer from Dr. Bro is a punch to the gut.
At stage 2, those drugs are hunters. They find the cancer and they kill it. But at stage 4, the cancer is everywhere. The drug can't keep up. They can't reverse the damage to the liver. They can't clear the lungs.
Everywhere.
I'm so sorry.
The math had shifted. Because of the 76 days of insurance delays, Angela's odds of survival had plummeted from 95% to less than 5%. But Michael isn't ready to give up. He demands a third appeal. Dr. Bro agrees, but her voice is heavy. She knows she isn't fighting for a cure anymore. She's fighting for a miracle. Dr. Bro's third appeal letter is a blistering indictment of HealthGuard Insurance. She writes, "The patient's progression to stage 4 is a direct result of your previous denials. The treatment is now less likely to work, but it remains her only hope." She submits it on February 29th. HealthGuard takes 7 days to respond, 7 days that Angela doesn't have. On March 7th, the response arrives, and it is the most cynical move in the entire playbook. Appeal denied. The reason? Treatment does not meet criteria for medical necessity at patient's current disease stage. Do you see what they did? They denied her at stage 2 because they claimed it was experimental. They waited until she reached stage 4, and then they denied her again because she was now too sick for the medicine to work. They used the death sentence they wrote as the justification to keep the money. By suggesting hospice instead of treatment, HealthGuard saved $335,000. For them, it was a successful fiscal quarter. For Michael Toledo, it was the moment he realized he was going to have to tell his children their mother was never coming home. Angela has 14 days to live. She is drifting in and out of a morphine-induced sleep, her hands still reaching for Michael's in the dark. 14 days left. The clock has almost run out. February 14th, 2024. 30 days left. Valentine's Day is usually a day for hearts. But for Angela Crawford, it was the day her heart began to fail under the weight of the stress. She had lost 18 pounds. The flu, she told her students she had, was actually the physical manifestation of her body being eaten from the inside out. She was now officially on medical leave from her classroom. The silence of her house was loud, broken only by the sound of the fax machine and the heavy breathing of a woman who was slowly being suffocated by bureaucracy. This is when Michael brought in the heavy artillery, Rose Kerr. Rose didn't look like a corporate lawyer. She looked like a fighter. She specialized in one thing, breaking the denial engine. Rose looked at Angela's file and didn't see a medical mystery. She saw a crime scene. She saw that HealthGuard had been ghosting Angela for 30 days. In the world of high-stakes insurance, this is called administrative attrition. They aren't saying no, they are just saying wait. On February 14th, the silence was finally broken. The second denial arrived. The reason? Treatment is experimental. Let's stop the clock right here. You need to understand how insulting this word is. Trastuzumab, the drug they called experimental, was approved by the FDA in 1998. It has been used for over a quarter of a century. Pertuzumab was approved in 2012. These drugs are the global gold standard. They are recommended by every major cancer society on the planet. Calling these drugs experimental in 2024 is like calling a seatbelt experimental in a car crash. Rose Kerr was furious. She knew exactly what HealthGuard was doing. By using the word experimental, they shifted the burden of proof onto the dying woman. Now, Angela didn't just have to fight cancer. She had to prove that the most common cancer drugs in the world weren't a science experiment. Rose filed a 15-page emergency appeal. She included citations from the American Cancer Society. She included a desperate letter from Dr. Bro, who wrote in all caps, "This is not a trial, this is the cure." But HealthGuard's response was a masterpiece of cold, corporate indifference. They told Rose that emergency reviews were handled on a case-by-case basis and could take up to 14 business days. 14 business days. That is 3 weeks. While HealthGuard's legal team was sitting in meetings, the cancer was moving. It was no longer just in the breast. It was looking for a way out. It was looking for the liver, the lungs, the bones. Angela sat on her couch, watching the winter sun set, wondering if the medicine would arrive in time to save her, or if it would only arrive in time to be used as evidence in her own wrongful death trial. She had 30 days to live, and the insurance company was still asking for more proof that she deserved to survive. 30 days left. The trap is closing. "60 days to go. December 22nd, 2023. While the rest of the world was worrying about shipping deadlines and dinner menus, Angela Crawford was staring at a screen that told her she didn't have a future. She had been diagnosed exactly 7 days prior. Dr. Bro had submitted the paperwork for the immunotherapy within 24 hours. The science was ready. The hospital was ready. But the insurance company, HealthGuard, was just getting started. The reason for the denial was a masterpiece of corporate logic. They claimed that for specialty medications, pre-authorization must be submitted 30 days before treatment begins. Think about the math of that cruelty. Angela was diagnosed on day 7. To get the treatment she needed on day 14, she would have had to apply for permission 16 days before she even knew she had a tumor. It wasn't a mistake, it was a gate, and it was locked. Michael Toledo spent that afternoon on the phone. If you've ever dealt with insurance, you know this sound, the elevator music. That "your call is important to us" recording. Michael spoke to 4 different representatives. The first one told him it was a coding error. The second one said the oncology department was closed for the holidays. The third one told him he wasn't authorized to speak about his wife's private medical records, even though they were on a joint policy. The fourth person finally spoke the truth. The computer says no, you have to file an appeal. This is where the delay and degrade strategy enters its first phase. By denying the claim on the Friday before Christmas, HealthGuard knew they were buying themselves an extra 4 days of silence. The offices would be closed. The mail would be slow. The cancer, however, doesn't take holidays. While HER2 positive cells were dividing in Angela's body, she was in the kitchen wrapping a sweater for her daughter, Anita. She chose not to tell her children. She didn't want the word "denied" to be the theme of their Christmas. They looked into paying out of pocket. $347,000. For a high school English teacher and a math teacher, that wasn't just a bill, it was an impossibility. It would take 10 years of their combined salaries, assuming they never paid for food or mortgage again. They were trapped. Dr. Bro tried to reassure them on a late-night call. "It's a common stall tactic, Michael. We'll appeal on the 26th. We'll win. A few days won't kill her." Dr. Bro was a world-class doctor, but she was underestimating the enemy. She was fighting a disease. HealthGuard was fighting a budget. Angela looked at her family across the Christmas tree and made a promise to herself. "I will fight this paperwork like I'm fighting for my life." She didn't realize that in this system, they were the same thing. 60 days left. The first domino has fallen. December 15th, 2023. 90 days remaining. Angela Crawford is sitting in a room on the 4th floor of the oncology center. For the last 10 days, her world has been a blur of mammograms and biopsies, all triggered by a single, hard lump she found in her left breast. Now, she's waiting for the only thing that matters, the results. Michael is there, his hand gripping hers so tight his knuckles are white. The door opens and Dr. Kathy Bro walks in. She has 23 years of experience, but these are words you never get used to saying. "I'm sorry," she says. "It's cancer." In an instant, Angela's life splits into two parts, before this moment and after. But as the fear sets in, Dr. Bro offers a lifeline. She explains the diagnosis: invasive ductal carcinoma, HER2 positive, stage 2. Stage 2 means we caught it early, the doctor explains. And HER2 positive? 20 years ago, that was a death sentence. Today, it's our biggest advantage. She tells them about two drugs, trastuzumab and pertuzumab. They aren't just chemotherapy, they are targeted immunotherapy. They are designed to find the specific protein in Angela's cancer and shut it down. Then, she gives Angela the number that will haunt this story: 95%. 95% of women with your exact diagnosis go into complete remission with this treatment, Dr. Bro says. You aren't just going to survive, Angela, you're going to be cured. Relief washes over the room. Angela wipes away tears, finally allowing herself to breathe. Dr. Bro promises to submit the paperwork to HealthGuard Insurance that afternoon. "We'll have you in for your first infusion within a week," she says. Time is critical, but we're ahead of it. As Angela and Michael walk to their car, they make a choice. They won't tell their children, Christopher and Anita, just yet. Why ruin their Christmas when the cure is already being scheduled? They sit in the parking lot, overwhelmed but hopeful. 95%, Angela whispers. "I'll take those odds." But as they drive away, the tragedy begins to take shape. Angela thinks she's going home to fight a disease. She has no idea she's actually going home to fight a corporation. She thinks she has a 95% chance at a long life. In reality, she has exactly 90 days to live.
All right, let's go.
Angela Crawford was not an accident. She was a statistic. HealthGuard Insurance Corporation oversees 4.2 million policyholders. Last year, they denied 234,000 claims. If you do the math, that is 26 denials every single hour. Every hour of every day, someone, somewhere, is opening an email that tells them their life isn't worth the cost of the cure. Angela's claim landed on the desk of an adjuster named Brian Ruiz. Brian is 41 years old. He has no medical degree. He has never treated a patient. On an average day, Brian processes 47 claims. He spent exactly 4 minutes on Angela's file. He didn't read Dr. Bro's notes. He didn't look at the 95% survival rate. He looked at two things: the cost, $347,000, and his denial quota. At HealthGuard, adjusters are pressured to deny at least 30% of high-value claims to keep their jobs. Brian clicked deny. Reason: pre-authorization not obtained. In 4 minutes, a man who didn't know Angela existed signed her death warrant so he could meet his monthly bonus. While Brian was meeting his quota, HealthGuard's CEO, Leonard Morin, was collecting a $12.4 million compensation package. The company's profit last year? $2.8 billion. The business model is simple: collect premiums, deny claims. HealthGuard knows that 72% of people will never appeal a denial. They count on you being too tired, too sick, or too overwhelmed to fight back. They bet on your silence. But Angela didn't stay silent. She appealed 4 times. And she isn't the only one. Attorney Rose Kerr has uncovered a graveyard of similar cases within HealthGuard's files. Henry Morrison, 63, liver cancer, denied, dead. Luella Washington, 51, ovarian cancer, denied for 6 months until her stage 2 became stage 4. She is currently in hospice. Larry Bailey, 47, colon cancer, denied until it spread to his lungs, dead. 16 cases, 16 families. 12 of them are now planning funerals instead of futures. Rose Kerr is preparing a massive wrongful death lawsuit, with Angela Crawford as the lead plaintiff. But a lawsuit won't bring a mother back to her children. It won't put Angela back in her classroom. The system didn't break. The system worked exactly the way HealthGuard designed it. Let's pull back the curtain. You need to understand that what happened to Angela wasn't a glitch in the system. The system was working exactly as designed. Here is the 7-step playbook insurance companies use to turn a life-saving treatment into corporate profit. Step 1. The diagnosis. Your doctor finds the problem and recommends the cure. Step 2. The algorithm. The moment a claim over $250,000 hits the system, a red flag goes up. Not for a doctor to review, but for an algorithm to stall. Step 3. The first denial. They use pre-authorization as a weapon. They deny you for not asking permission to have cancer 30 days before you were even diagnosed. It's a logic trap. Step 4. The appeal war. They make the paperwork so mountain high that 72% of people simply give up. They bet on your exhaustion. Step 5. The pivot. This is the most sinister part. If you do appeal, they just wait. They take the full 30 days to respond. Why? Because they're waiting for you to get sicker. Step 6. The catch-22. By the time they review your second appeal, your stage 2 cancer has become stage 4. Now, they deny you again, this time because the treatment isn't effective for advanced stages. They use the delay they caused as the reason to let you die. Step 7. The final savings. Sometimes they approve the treatment at the very end, when they know it's too late to work. They get to look reasonable in court while never having to pay a dime. How do we know this? Because of a leaked internal memo from HealthGuard titled Claims Management Protocol, High-Cost Cases. It says it in black and white. Initial denial is recommended regardless of medical necessity. It literally admits that by stalling for 45 to 60 days, they can reduce payouts by 64% because the patient's condition deteriorates. Deteriorates. That is the corporate word for dying. Angela Crawford followed every rule. She appealed 4 times. December 22nd, denied for paperwork. January 11th, denied for being experimental. February 14th, denied for alternatives. March 7th, denied because she was now too sick to save. HealthGuard saved $347,000. Angela lost her life. This isn't healthcare. It's a high-stakes shell game where the house always wins. 7 months have passed since Angela Crawford's final breath. It is October 2024, and for the world, life has moved on. For Michael Toledo, it has stood still. Michael still lives in the house they bought 12 years ago. He still teaches math at the same high school where Angela taught English. Every day, he walks past her old classroom. He sees a new teacher there, someone young, someone who doesn't know whose seat they are sitting in. His children are surviving, but they are fractured. Christopher is struggling through his senior year, seeing a therapist twice a week. Anita moved across the state for college. She needed to be in a place that didn't smell like her mother's perfume. But Michael isn't just grieving, he's fighting. Attorney Rose Kerr has moved the case into the discovery phase. She has finally gotten her hands on the shadow files, the internal memos that prove HealthGuard didn't just make a mistake. They followed a protocol. The lawsuit alleges wrongful death, bad faith, and intentional delay. But Rose is honest with Michael. Insurance companies have unlimited resources. They will delay, they will appeal, they will fight until you're too tired to continue. Michael doesn't care. He isn't doing this for a settlement. He's doing it because Angela's last words were, "Tell them what they did." While the Toledo family sits in silence at dinner, HealthGuard is celebrating. Their last quarter profit? $712 million. CEO Leonard Morin didn't just keep his job. He received a $3.2 million bonus for exceptional fiscal performance. That performance was built on the backs of 41,000 denied claims in the last 7 months alone. And Brian Ruiz, the adjuster who spent 4 minutes on Angela's life, he's still there. He's still hitting his 47 claims a day quota. He doesn't even remember Angela's name. He's a good father who goes home to his 7-year-old daughter, never realizing that his job left 2 other children motherless. But the accountability is growing. Rose Kerr has found them, 43 other families, 43 people who had the same bad luck of having HealthGuard insurance, 43 families who are now joining Michael in a massive class action lawsuit, 43 deaths, all following the same 90-day pattern of delay. Rose thinks they'll win, but as she tells Michael, a victory in court won't bring Angela back to her classroom. It won't bring a mother back to her kids. It will only do one thing. It will finally tell the world exactly what they did. Angela M. Crawford, born April 3, 1982, died March 15, 2024. The death certificate says cancer, but the truth is Angela was killed by a system. She was an English teacher. She spent her life teaching her students how to speak truth to power. She taught them about characters who fought back against injustice. And when the time came, Angela did exactly what she taught. She fought. She documented every call. She appealed 4 times. She hired the best lawyer she could find. She did everything right. The system killed her anyway. To HealthGuard Insurance, Angela was never a mother or a teacher. She was a claim number. Her life was reduced to a line item. Cost, $347,000. And in a cold boardroom, someone decided that keeping that money was more important than keeping Angela alive. This isn't just a tragedy, it's a business model, and it's legal. If you have health insurance, you are at risk, but you are not powerless. Insurance companies count on you being too tired to fight. Be the 28% who fight back. 1. Document everything. Keep a log of every call, every name, and every date. 2. Get it in writing. If a doctor recommends a treatment, get the medical necessity letter immediately. 3. The 30-day rule. Do not wait. Appeal the second you receive a denial. 4. Escalate. If the internal appeal fails, demand an external review. This takes the decision out of the insurance company's hands. We have placed links in the description to the Patient Advocate Foundation and the National Patient Advocate Foundation. They offer free assistance to help you navigate this nightmare. Contact your state insurance commissioner. They are there to regulate these companies, make them do their job. Angela Crawford should be alive today. She should be watching Christopher graduate. She should be helping Anita with her college applications. Instead, a corporation has $347,000 extra in its pocket, and a family has an empty chair at the dinner table. That is the true cost of denial. This is accountability TV. Don't let them stay silent. Share this story. It could save a life.